Live from the UK, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to the Mic Drop Club, hosted by Douglas Hammondishe. Message received. You do not need to know what you need. Just engage with the podcast feed. Providing weekly insights into cool stuff we've read, saw, did, or heard about what made us say, wow, eureka, damn, nothing is off limits. If it motivates and inspires you to reach your goals, then it shall be discussed. Featuring guest interviews from high performers and people of influence, and weekly awards for the best mic drop moment. This podcast is guaranteed to leave you pumped up for the week ahead. Don't just live life. Make life boom.
Hi everybody, it's Douglas Hammondishe for another episode of the Mic Drop Club. Today I am blessed. I'm super pumped to have a conversation with Janet Idowu, who is a champion on leadership. So she's in the guest room waiting, bubbling in anticipation to drop some bombs on you guys so that we can inspire, we can bring some sort of inspiration and clarify what it really means to be a leader working within the NHS and other corporate organizations, because we've seen leadership being discussed all over LinkedIn right now.
Broadcasting around the world.
And leadership keeps being bandied about. What is leadership? What do we really mean about leadership? Are we all leaders? Let's debunk. Let's have that conversation and let's engage. So Janet, welcome to the Mic Drop Club. How are you doing?
Hello, Douglas. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I wasn't expecting to be filmed, so please excuse the bags under the eyes. It's been a very, very busy week, but I'm very, very grateful and lucky to be here. So thank you very much.
No, the pleasure's all ours. It's all ours at the Mic Drop Club. We're here. The motto is,
don't just live life. Make life boom.
And as soon as I met you for the first time, I was gravitated to the energy that you have and the enthusiasm that you have, particularly around inspiring people to take on the mantle of leadership, people that have been marginalized for a long time, overlooked for positions. You know, what got you into leadership? And yeah, tell us what your journey has been like.
So I currently work for South West London and St George's Mental Health Trust. I'm soon going to be starting a new role as a clinical service lead, band 8A, my first 8.
Can you say that one more time, please?
Okay, guys, everybody ready?
Atomic mic drop.
That's your first mic drop already, yeah? And you're only like 1 minute in.
I'm so gassed right now, I'm telling you. I thought I was going to get no mic drops, but yes, very happy about that. But it's my first 8A position within South West London and St George's. I've studied my postgraduate nursing at King's College London. I also have a law degree. I've worked in various different settings. I've managed the bar. I used to work as NHS 111 as a leader. So leadership roles has kind of always come to me. I've never really sought out for leadership. It's something that I naturally do, I would say. I trained at CNWL, and I love CNWL because all my mentors were Black, all of them. And I remember them all. They had a huge impact on me. I ended up at South West London St George's, and I will never forget it. I remember when I arrived at South West London St George's and I saw all my managers and they were pretty much white. All my colleagues, band fives, they're all Black. I thought, I'm not going to be a manager. I want to stay with my friends. They're all band fives. I don't want to go up. Why would I want to go up and, talk to people that don't understand me, expect me to change? And that's just not who I am. I just couldn't do it. It was only when I did the leadership program, which I'm going to talk more about today, it was when I got that fire in my belly. But I've had a very short career in nursing, but leadership is something that is so important to me. And I think, when I look at myself and who I was 5 years ago, I don't want that person to also look up and think, nah, not interested in wanting to be a leader, especially the good ones. We don't want them to be stuck behind. So yeah.
Sure, no, thank you for that, because we do know that there's a lot of hesitancy, there's a lot of fear amongst minority groups in sticking their head above the parapet, because sometimes it's all about being available but not at the forefront. So kind of like be like, almost like a naughty child type situation. Yeah, don't be seen kind of stuff. Be there in the background doing what you're doing. So in terms of your own dynamic, like your own passions, like you said you gravitated to leadership positions, or you've been found to be in leadership positions. Is there something about yourself, your personality, or something about your background that has given you this extra pizzazz or extra like impetus to be around leaders?
So I don't know if this is relevant or not, but I'm Nigerian. I'm a very proud Nigerian. My parents pushed me a lot. But I'm also very proud to be British. I'm not going to lie to you. I love eating pounded yam, but I also, love a roast dinner. And I think because I'm so proud of my culture, and just proud of who I am, my mum's always instilled that confidence in me to just say it how it is, no matter how messy it looks. And I know in my early parts of my career, I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of rude emails, attitudes. And I think I behaved in that way because I thought, I'm not going to change who I am to get the message out. And what I've learned as I've started to develop, and I think that's how these opportunities have come to me, is how to not change who you are, but adapt to the situation so that you can get the message through. And that has sort of worked. That has definitely worked a lot for me. It's about, I think, and that's what's so important for me as well, to share with others. How do you get the message across without having to change yourself? That's really, really important. And I think that we have this naive misconception that in order to be the leader, you have to be completely different. And that's not true.
Interesting. There's a lot to unpack there. There's something you said about attitude as well, which I want to break down with you. And also this misconception of changing oneself into something else to be a leader. But just touch upon attitude, and what's the biggest shift in attitude that people need to reconcile if they want to be in a position of authority and leadership?
I think you need to change the way you see leadership, and I've also sometimes I feel like I've changed. I feel like I've taken on that role. Excuse me. I want to pave the way for other people that see themselves in me to and see that actually, Janet's done this. She's able to, work her way up, and she's the same, and so it's the attitude of actually self-belief and believing you can actually do this. And I think, when I think about my attitude, I don't want to make it personal to anyone else, but when I think about my attitude, I know that I had an attitude of F this. Absolutely not, excuse the language, and that's what I'm trying to pinpoint on. I want people to believe, change their mindset of, we can't do this. This is no chance. But actually, yeah, we can. She's done it. He's done it. These people have done it. And also allyship as well. Like I remember, right, at Band 5 Nurse, one of the things that people said to me was network, and I thought, oh, I don't want to be friends with these people. Why would I want to be friends with people that see me less than them? And again, that was a huge shift in attitude, because you're going to come across the people that are racist. I've experienced it myself. Even someone who is proud to be British, I've had British people be racist to me. So, that's, I'm not naive in that sense. But I've also met some exceptionally amazing white allies, white and black allies that have had a huge impact on my career. So that's, again, part of that change of attitude and change of mindset, in order to achieve, the goal. I don't know really what my long-term goal is, but I do know that my goal is to try and pave the way for others.
Brilliant. And on that note, we have to big up Kath Gamble.
Indeed.
Because we talk about white allyship, and she is top of the pile, as I say.
Okay,
She
guys,
gets her
everybody
mic
ready?
drop, even though she's not here. We wish her speedy
Mic drop.
recovery. Yes, attitude. And you're so right. When I was in this game, in health, the first thing I saw was a lack of representation, right? And I'm going to challenge this whole concept of seeing yourself in position. Because that's how I was initially. I was like, because I can't see anyone like me there. There's a problem. And I had a conversation with my parents about this because it was troubling me a lot. And it was like, do I aspire for more, or do I just be grateful for having this opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my mother said to me, "How vain are you, Douglas?" She goes, "You're displaying a lot of hubris, aren't you, Douglas?" I was like, "What are you talking about? I can't see anyone myself there." And it was a comment. And she goes, "Look, if we had to see ourselves as people in Great Britain, we would have stayed in Rhodesia at the time because they were pioneers. You know, they left the war zone country to come to the UK with no reference of people like them there." And I think sometimes you can do yourself a disservice and lose some of that pioneering energy.
Yeah.
If we fixate on seeing somebody first so it looks like us there. If you were to climb Mount Everest, every record that has been broken, you can't see somebody else breaking it, or you wouldn't. It defeats the whole purpose. You're doing it because no one has done it.
Yep.
You are the first. You're pushing your potential to its maximum. Exactly. And I'm completely with you on that journey in terms of because it's taken me a long time. I have to be really long in the tooth to speak like this, because when I had energy levels, it's almost about, safety in numbers and all of that kind of stuff. But as you go up in leadership, I guess there's fewer and fewer of you there anyway.
Yeah.
And it's more about allyship and allyship, isn't it?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think sometimes you once you have that mental strength to do it on your own, you will definitely get there, and you keep pushing yourself. It's so funny you mentioned about your parents. And my when I told my mum I'm doing nursing, she was like, why would you do that to yourself? she was not keen, because I kind of took that mentality from her, and it's something that we naturally do, but actually once you gain that mental strength to keep pushing, and you bring people with you. And I do want to give Catherine a special shout out as well. She has been an exceptional ally to me, and she's also, she deserves a mic drop. She's
Okay, guys,
I
everybody
was just
ready?
waiting for the cue.
Mic drop.
She really has given me that mental strength and that mental agility, and reminded me that sometimes you have to do this on your own, and you keep pushing, and once you've paved the way, everyone else can do it, and that's how I've built this strong mental attitude to want to be a leader.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And also in terms of changing oneself. If you take a look at the cabinet right now, government, there are lots of different personalities. Some colourful personalities are there.
Yes.
And they, as far as I'm objectively looking at them, they're going their full personality on show. Boris Johnson deliberately is unkept.
I mean, unless I don't even want to be specific, but exactly.
Exactly. So there's something about, maybe we need to change the whole concept of how we view ourselves and how we allow others to view us, and be ourselves. Because sometimes we can come back from work extremely tired. It's only because we've been wearing the masks for so long, laughing at jokes we don't particularly find funny, talking in a way that is rather foreign, and then you get home, you can relax and be yourself. But there's something about being yourself in all positions, and that comes from gaining confidence in your own skin as such. So what do you do to stride in the way that you do, to have the confidence to just be present and not be fixated on how other people are perceiving you?
You know, I love that question because it is really, really important to me. Just being myself. I think, so for example, I was doing a reflective practice with a group, and it was a mixture of, they had the white group sat on that side, and we had the African ladies sat on the other side. And I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of spoke in an African accent just so that I wanted to make sure they understood my question, and I didn't care that my white colleagues were sat there. And because I changed the way I was speaking so that they could feel included, they just started opening up. They were coming up with excellent ideas. So I think as a leader, you need to have that confidence so that people are drawn to you. This is how you get information. This is how you get people to start to fool themselves. They were almost taken aback, but then also they felt at home. They felt really comfortable. And I think with practice, at first I felt it felt a bit alien to me, but actually it's starting to feel really normal, for me to try and make sure that everyone feels included. I can put in a very posh British accent, but I can also put a very strong African accent as well, just so that all my people feel really, really included. That's so important to me. I don't like people, the thought of anyone feeling left out or feeling bullied, or feeling how I felt. Really, it just, yeah, it breaks my heart, and that's not something I want. And I think I've got that way through confidence and through practicing.
Brilliant. And the practice is something that is excellent, because when we talk about communication and the art of communicating, it's all to do about making sure that your message is heard to the recipient, right? So you should be bilingual, literally. I'm in awe when I watch the Eurovision Song Contest, and confession, I watch it every single year. I love it. I grew up on Eurovision. You can do what you want. Champions League, it has to be done, right?
Well, I'm a Tottenham fan, so I don't even want to get into that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Commiserations for yesterday.
Thank
it's
you.
one of those things, right? It happens. It happens. But the whole point of being confident that you can walk the corporate, the boardroom environment, because in the boardroom there is a culture within the boardroom.
There is.
Do you want to share your experience of the culture of the boardroom? in all, not just health, in your own experience of that culture, please.
So I guess my experience is that it is designed by white people for white people, in that they use language that makes people feel excluded, makes people feel uncomfortable. They also almost overcomplicate things, and I think that's how in my journey of wanting to become a leader, what I've done is I've tried to understand and adapt and learn these languages and learn these things. And what I've realized is that it's all a facade. It is all it's like a cloakroom just to keep people out, and that's my understanding of a boardroom. And when I speak, because I do a lot of coaching and mentoring for junior staff members, and one of the things they always say to me is I'm scared, and I'm very candid. I'm like, this is all a facade. You'll be absolutely fine. Just remember these keywords if you're doing an interview or if you're presenting, but it is all a facade, and it is a facade to keep people out. And I think when we talk about maybe systematic racism, and something that's institutional racism, excuse me, when we talk about institutional racism, this is kind of what it stems from. It's about how do we keep people on the outside. We do that by using really large, extravagant, complex language that people can't understand. And then when you got to understand it, you realize they're just saying what I'm saying, but just in a really different language, really posh accent. And that's why when I go into a boardroom environment or I'm in a meeting situation, I feel comfortable being myself, challenging and asking, because I know this is all a facade and we're all pretending here to be better than we actually are, because actually we're all the same.
Yeah. And I think sometimes knowledge is hidden for a long time. And I think the internet has debunked a lot of that, because the language that's complicated, jargonistic language, it's accessible to everybody. I think there's a responsibility aspect to leadership. That for you to feel responsible to do something comes from an innate ability that you can solve this problem. Like when you kindly asked me to help co-facilitate some of the leadership programs, that's one thing I tried to get the students to start acknowledging. Is first of all, what problem are you uniquely positioned to solve? It's like a patient will be admitted onto a ward that speaks Ukrainian or something like that, Hungarian, whatever it is, Latvian. Can you speak Latvian? No. But there's interpreters that you need to book in to come. So they were solving a problem. Yeah. So at that rudimentary level, translated right to the boardroom level, it's still the same thing. Why are you in the boardroom in the first place? What problem are you solving with your skill set? Because I think sometimes the biggest issue is you get to the boardroom and don't know what problem you solve. So you sit there and just look pretty and just count the seconds and think, know the problem, but you're not there to solve any problem. The whole agenda item has nothing of it that you can contribute to. That's why I'm not really a fan of numbers. I'm not really a fan of having quotas for people to fulfill positions, particularly if they don't have the ability to add value in that position. I think it could be detrimental not only to a service, but to the individuals there, because you crush their confidence anyway.
Absolutely. I remember when I was working out as a team manager, I had huge imposter syndrome, because I thought I was put in this role. I don't know why I was put in this role. I don't know what my team didn't really want me as their manager. I had huge imposter syndrome, and I think that's definitely part and parcel with this facade that many Black people experience when they are in a leadership role. They put themselves under this pressure of when we need to do this is what you're here to do, this is how a leader looks like, this is how a leader speaks, you don't sound like a leader. But once I got over this imposter syndrome and realized I may not necessarily know what I'm here to solve, but I know what I'm here to do. I know I'm here to do a job. That could be the answer within itself. So
just for that, let's pause for let that marinate, right? Let that marinate.
You are so much more.
You are so much more.
MicDropClub.com.
You are so much more. And it's so important for people to recognize.
Make life boom.
That when we have imposter syndrome, everybody has imposter syndrome at some point. Everybody has imposter syndrome at some point. It's the techniques that we evoke to do it. There's a school of thought that says, fake it until you make it.
That is actually my motto. I think I should have that tattooed on me.
You're faking it till you make it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, everybody ready?
Atomic mic drop.
Right.
For a very long time, I was faking it. I'm telling you, I just pretended like I have this confidence, but inside, I was scared. I was really scared. I'm not going to lie to you. When I was given a promotion quicker than everyone was like, "What? You're not ready for a band 6." I was really scared, but I stood my ground and said, "No, this is what I'm doing." But inside, I was honestly faking it.
Yeah, no, that's excellent, and that's common. The fake it till you make it one is common. I was taught another one. Yeah, no. I've used the two, right? And this is what I was taught, right? To live it till you become it.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, because the funny thing is, imposter syndrome still means deep down you think you're an imposter. You don't change. It doesn't change. All what happens is it allows you to cope in that situation.
Yeah.
Because your little voice inside you, the mini you, the real you, thinks they're fake.
Yeah.
And it's always going to think they're fake, no matter where they're going. But you're living it, you're faking it consciously till you become it. So if you're living it, there's no evidence to support that you're not it. For example, leaders carry themselves a certain way. So you carry yourself that certain way.
Yeah.
Leaders might, particularly in whatever field you're in, might dress a certain way. Dress that particular way. That's why when I go for job interviews for senior positions, I always have to practice wearing the attire I'm going to be wearing on the day. There's no point in boxer shorts, gown, talking to yourself in the mirror, going at it, yeah? The next time you wear the suit's not fitting in. You feel like an imposter because nothing's connecting. You know, you have to live it. You have to actually live it. Use that leadership speech that that they use within your field of expertise as normal language.
Yeah.
And not like, if we mention Boris Johnson, for example, he's modeled his whole career personality on Churchill. Yeah, he studied the guy, he's just morphed into Churchill in front of our eyes. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but he's actually living it. You know, he there's no, to be yourself means you got to be yourself in whatever environment they put you in. Absolutely. Correct? Absolutely. And you can only do that if you're truly comfortable in your own skin. Yeah. You know, and you and your vision and your mantras and everything else that you're having are working in unison. Because once you've got something that's not working in unison, you're troubled. You're answering questions in a very coherent way. So how do you think we're doing as marginalized communities in terms of leadership within the NHS? Is there more work that needs to be done? How do you think we're moving?
I think we are slowly getting there. We're getting there. But it is slow. And I think the reason why that is because it's the culture of the organization. And I can remember, I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to name this school, when I was studying one of my educations, I remember sitting with one of my mentors. He was my personal tutor. We sat in the room. I'm very open when I talk about racism because I just think everyone should be talking about it. So I was sitting with one of my personal tutors, and I remember saying, "Look, I'm experiencing this racism," and he just wouldn't even acknowledge my question. It was the most bizarre experience. Yeah. A couple of years later, I see him on Twitter throwing a glass of water in a black person's face, saying, "Go back to your country," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, no wonder he." You know, he probably didn't think it existed. And I remember at that same school, I went to another tutor. I said, "Look, this is what I sent this tutor an email. I said, I'm experiencing this. You know, my colleagues keep talking about African aunties throwing their wig on the floor. They were being really derogatory, and I didn't know what to do. Didn't get a response. I remember seeing her face to face. She panicked. Now, this is it's an excellent school, well renowned, and you know, I spoke to these people because I just expected a well-renowned school to have that natural ability to talk about race, and they didn't. The reason why they didn't is because it wasn't embedded in their culture. I spoke about this at the RCN. You know, we talk about how the NHS are contractually obliged to ensure there's equality and diversity in the workplace, but if we don't have the culture, if people don't want to talk about it, how are things going to change? And I think that's the thing that we need to be working on. It's about having these really open, uncomfortable conversations with staff members, not keeping it into, the Black network group where we all come together, congregate and complain, and then it goes to one person, then it goes to another person. It needs to be spoken about openly with everyone. I think that's really, really important and will go a long way to ensuring that there's, diversity and all these leadership programs won't necessarily be needed all the time.
Interesting. In terms of the leadership program, I think it's essential. And after done 2 of them with you, I've seen the value, not only in my own life, because I've gone back driving, reflected back on some of the conversations that we had. It has galvanized and it has raised awareness in terms of what skills are needed. And I think that's important. I think you make some very, very telling points there in terms of leadership. In terms of the future gazing, like what practical things should organizations be doing to have some of these difficult conversations, because I guess if you're in the dominant culture within any country, any environment, you've never really had to change your culture, your background, your history. You never had to reflect on it in a different way, you know? And I guess this is what's required at some level to shift the bar. Because as long as the history books still pertain to and tell stories that we are a subprime, yeah, it's hard for those people who've been educated, even Black people who've been educated in that system, to see themselves in any other situation. So I guess there's an educational piece that needs to be had, but that safe space where people can just be open and frank and explore what good looks like, because there's the unknown. So the fear, I guess, is a boardroom full of diversity. You know, to those who can't imagine that, there's a fear there. What is that fear?
I think it's really difficult. So I have lots of. I don't want to be critical, but I think there is this fear of change. You know, there is this huge fear, and nobody likes change. Whether you're Black, white, Asian, whatever, we don't like change. And are we? You know, I think, you know, people may have this naive or archaic mindset that, you know, if we're gonna invite all of these Black people into the, you know, boardroom, are we gonna have to change that way that we speak when we've been doing this for hundreds and thousands of years in our country? You know, it's very naive, but it's very unrealistic, and I think that's probably one of that's the biggest fear that people have. But I think, you know, until board members, senior executives, chief executives, it has to start from the top, I think. And if it doesn't start from the top, you know, we can do our best. I can do my best on the ground to try and pave the way. I'm trying to just pave the way for a small group of people, really. You know, and for me, that's fulfilling enough. But is it going to do enough to really make a huge impact in the workplace? I don't know. I have sort of an innate desire to want to be a chief executive, to be honest with you, just so that
speak it into existence. Let's do the growl. Let's do the atomic bomb.
Okay, guys, everybody
Speak
ready?
it to existence. Chief executive. Why not?
Why not? I have a.
If not you, then who?
Well, this is it, and I think this, I have told Vanessa Ford, actually. So she's the chief executive at South West London St George's, that I am after a job. So she's very well aware. But I think if it doesn't start from the top, the point is, if it doesn't start from the top, then, you know, it's just not going to happen. When we talk about leadership, whether it's leading a family, you know, you look at your mum and your dad to make that decision and to lead you and to pave the way. It's in any setting, it always has to start from the top. And when it starts from the top, it does work its way down. And I think that, for me, is definitely the answer in terms of changing culture in the workplace.
Oh, wow. On that note, Janet, on that superb note, should I say, is there any take-home messages for our listeners to reflect on in terms of leadership? We've gone like full circle in terms of defining what leadership is all about, the culture of leadership, the challenges that you can have in leadership, you know, the call for leadership, I guess. Anything else, like practical things that people can do who are just tithering on the thing of maybe this is for me?
I think what's important to remember is that we are not soldiers. I'm not expecting everyone to be anti-racist and point out, you know, this person's racist, I'm going to point at you in the face. It's exhausting. But when you just take baby steps, if you see something, have open discussions with your team, you know, and do it till you feel comfortable, because once you start, I promise you, it just gets so much easier each time. And I think that's really important. We're not asking people to go out there gung-ho and change the world, but if we don't start making baby steps, it just nothing will ever change.
Absolutely. And Janet, somebody who's living a life, who's living it and they're becoming it. I'm watching you grow. I'm watching you grow in leadership, in stature, in providing real value. I think that's what it's about. It's about having people in strategic positions that add real value. And one of the key metrics that every leader is measured against is the leaders that they produce under them.
Yep.
So as a student of Kath Gamble, Miles Rinaldi, and all the allies I've had at Southwest London Trust, they've created me, and through me, I've supported other people. And Janet, yourself, through being instrumental with the leadership program. How many leaders are coming through you, through your teachings? That is what leadership for me is all about. And just want to salute you on behalf of Mic Drop Club, and we wish you well. Last mic drop, because you're getting too deep.
Okay, guys, everybody ready?
Atomic mic drop.
And connect with Janet on all her social handles. I'll give you access to that information in the show notes. You guys take care. We out.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out micdropclub.com and get the show notes and useful links. Subscribe to the podcast. Don't just live life, make life boom.